Once upon a time, a man named Michael lived a peaceful life with his beloved cat, Jasper. For 3 years, Jasper was more than just a pet. He was Michael's best friend, always there to brighten his days. Jasper was full of curiosity and loved exploring the neighborhood. No matter how much Michael wished to keep him inside, Jasper's constant meowing and pacing always convinced him to let the cat roam free. But one evening, Jasper didn't come home. As the sun disappeared and the night grew darker, Michael's heart filled with worry. He stood by the window, calling Jasper's name, but the streets were silent. The hours passed, and Michael couldn't sleep. He kept listening, hoping to hear Jasper's familiar meow. By morning, Jasper was still missing, and Michael's quiet home had never felt so empty. Michael's anxiety grew with each passing hour. This had never happened before. Jasper, his furry best friend, had always come back, no matter how far he wandered. Determined to find him, Michael decided to act. He called animal shelters, describing Jasper's gray fur and bright green eyes, hoping someone had seen him. He printed flyers with Jasper's picture and walked through the neighborhood, handing them out to everyone he met. He knocked on doors, asking neighbors if they'd seen his cat, but despite all his efforts, there was no sign of Jasper. 2 long days passed, and Michael couldn't stop the worst thoughts from creeping into his mind. What if Jasper was hurt? What if he couldn't find his way back? Michael felt helpless, but he refused to give up. Jasper wasn't just a pet, he was family. On the 3rd morning, a loud meow broke the silence, pulling Michael from his restless sleep. His heart pounded with hope as he ran toward the sound. There, sitting by the kitchen door, was Jasper, looking up with his familiar green eyes. Tears filled Michael's eyes as he crouched down, scooping up his lost friend. Jasper was finally home, but as Michael reached out to pet Jasper, he noticed something strange. Around Jasper's neck was a white collar Michael had never seen before. It looked unusual, with a small, shiny device attached to it. Michael's relief quickly turned to confusion and concern. Where had Jasper been? Who put this collar on him? Carefully, he tried to take the collar off, but Jasper hissed and pulled away, something he had never done before. The cat's eyes were wide with fear, and it broke Michael's heart to see his friend acting so differently. Hoping Jasper just needed time, Michael decided to give him space. He opened Jasper's favorite canned food and set the bowl down. Jasper ate quickly, as if he hadn't had a proper meal in days. For a brief moment, everything felt normal again, but Michael's mind kept racing back to that strange collar. He wasn't ready to let Jasper outside again, so he sealed every pet door and window to keep him safe inside. Jasper, however, wasn't happy about it. He scratched at doors and meowed loudly, but Michael couldn't risk losing him. Over the next few days, Michael tried to get a closer look at the collar. Each time he reached for it, Jasper would back away, hissing or hiding. This wasn't like him at all. Jasper, once so loving, now acted skittish and distant. One night, while Jasper was fast asleep, Michael made his move. He crept up and carefully reached for the collar. But as soon as his fingers touched the device, Jasper sprang awake, clawing at Michael's hand. Michael stumbled back, defeated, watching Jasper as he darted away. Something was very, very wrong. Determined to solve the mystery, Michael came up with a plan. He bought a cat-safe sleep aid and mixed it into Jasper's food. Once Jasper was fast asleep, Michael carefully moved in to examine the strange collar. As he took a closer look, something alarming caught his eye. A small red light was blinking on the device. Michael's heart sank. This wasn't just a regular collar, it seemed like some sort of electronic gadget. A flood of questions rushed through Michael's mind. Was the collar tracking Jasper? Was someone watching him without his knowing? He knew he had to remove it, no matter what. Michael grabbed a pair of scissors from the kitchen, but the collar's material was too tough to cut. Frustrated, he searched his toolbox and found a pair of cutters. After some struggle, he finally managed to snap the collar off. As Michael held the collar in his hands, he noticed a tiny button on its side. With a deep breath, he pressed it. A faint beep sounded, followed by a cold, synthetic voice saying, "Activation complete." Michael froze, his stomach turning. What had he just activated? What was going on with this collar? Driven by curiosity and concern, Michael decided to break open the collar to see what was inside. With a hammer, he carefully cracked the device apart. What he found shocked him: a tiny camera, a microphone, and an antenna. It was clear the collar had been recording and sending out information. Michael's mind raced. Who had put this on Jasper? Why was someone spying on his cat? Realizing how serious this situation was, Michael immediately called the police. When the officers arrived, he handed them the collar and explained everything that had happened. To his surprise, they took him seriously. The officers said that similar collars had been found in the area, but the devices were often gone before the owners could examine them. It seemed like someone was watching the collars closely. The officers promised to investigate further and assured Michael they would contact him with any updates. Though still shaken, Michael felt a little better knowing that the police were now involved. Later that evening, Michael sat with Jasper curled up beside him, trying to relax. His phone rang, and when he saw the unfamiliar number, he hoped it was the police. It was. The officers had tracked the collar to a young man who had been testing homemade tracking devices. Michael's heart raced as he waited to hear what would happen next. The man explained that he was an amateur inventor trying to develop a business. Without asking for permission, he had used neighborhood cats to test his devices, believing they would help improve his technology. He insisted that he never meant to harm any animals or upset their owners. Although Michael felt relieved to know there was no evil plan behind the collar, he couldn't forgive the man for putting Jasper in danger. The police reassured him that the inventor would face consequences for his actions and would be forced to stop his unauthorized experiments. In the days that followed, things slowly returned to normal for Michael and Jasper. Michael became extra cautious, keeping a watchful eye on his cat and making sure he stayed indoors. Even though the mystery had been solved, the entire experience left a lasting impression on Michael. It reminded him of how much Jasper meant to him and how far he was willing to go to keep him safe. Jasper quickly bounced back from the strange ordeal, enjoying the love and care Michael gave him. While Michael still couldn't understand the young inventor's strange methods, he was thankful that the situation didn't end in something worse. From that point on, Michael made sure Jasper's adventures were only outside when he was with him. Some mysteries, Michael realized, were better left unsolved, and nothing mattered more than the safety of his precious cat. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more exciting tales. Your support means a lot and helps us bring more stories to life.